Just waiting notification. Okay, I'm just waiting notification, Prime Minister. Okay, here we go. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us today, none other than Student Minister Robert Muhammad out of Wilmington, Delaware, who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. First of all, assalamu alaikum, Brother Minister.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Josh. How are you, sir?
I'm doing phenomenal, sir. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Kareem, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And people are showing you love right away on Facebook. I can't wait to put this on YouTube as well. Okay, Brother Minister, let's get straight into it. When did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
First heard the teaching in late 82, early 83. What happened was I was on my way back home from college for the summer. And I had to get a job. So Atlantic City is Casino City of the East. Well, Minister Farrakhan called it Sin City of the East. And so what happened was I was working as a bar porter. I thought it was a good job, to make some money, because I didn't drink. My drug of choice at that time was weed, brother. Mm-hmm. So the bar porter trainer was a Muslim, follower of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan out of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And I never heard anything about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Minister Farrakhan because my father was in the Air Force. We traveled the world. And so it never came across, I did have an uncle that was a Muslim, but I was just scared of him because of his presence, but I never knew anything about the teaching.
Yes, sir.
I saw a Caucasian woman and a black man walking by the bar. And I said to him, brother, it looks as though we're coming together. And brother, when I said that brother taught me for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And when I heard that, I said, I believe it. But I never saw a picture of Elijah Muhammad or Minister Farrakhan or the nation I believed on sight. And I asked him, well, where can I meet him? Where can I go? I believe it. And that's how I started, brother. It was, but I didn't get my ex till 1983. But that's how I heard of the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Oh, praises to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, sir. Okay. So you hear the teachings. How does your family and friends feel about you accepting the teachings?
Well, I was very popular in high school. I was a 3-star athlete, but I knocked it down to 2. I played basketball and football. And baseball, I could have played major leagues, but when I came back home to Atlantic City, the brothers and sisters, Atlantic City, Pleasantville area, the brothers were not playing baseball. So I dropped that and picked up basketball and football. So I was very popular. So me as a Muslim was very foreign to them. The people were shocked. You being a Muslim? And so my family took it like, really? And then the people that I grew up with, that I had influence on playing sports, they were very shocked, brother.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now let's go back to the sports. Okay, so I'm an athlete. When you play basketball, what position did you play?
I played both. I could play point and off guard.
Okay.
I could shoot and I could rock the ball too as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Who were some of your influences that inspired you at point guard?
Oh, Magic Johnson, brother. Magic Johnson is my favorite. I wore his number. And back then, if you wore number 32, that was saying something because, just like everybody today is wearing 23.
Yes, sir.
But folks is, some folks is garbage wearing that number. but I had 32 and I was very good. And Magic Johnson was, I idolized him. I thought I had a better jump shot than him, but he made NBA. I'm watching him.
Yes, sir. And speaking of watching him, there's a series that I watch with my family every Sunday called Winning Time about Magic Johnson. And it's like a new television series. It's good. Since you're a Magic Johnson fan, I think you should watch it.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So you finished playing basketball. You accept the teachings. You finished playing sports. You accept the teachings. When did you first meet the Most Honorable Minister Farrakhan?
Brother, it was in 1988. It was during the Tyson Spinks fight. The minister had come to Atlantic City to see the Tyson Spinks fight. And and at that time we were striving to bring Minister Farrakhan there for the first time in 1988. And he said, I got a call from your dad. Your dad called me and he said, the package is here, brother. Meet me at such and such and so and so. So it was a hotel next to the Sands Hotel Casino. And he told me what to do, how to act or whatnot. And I thank your father, brother, for teaching me how to act around the messenger of God. You know, that's very important because yes, you know, we love him and we admire and we honor him, but there's a special way or code of ethic that you and I got to have of being around the messenger of God. And I thank your father for that. I get a call from your dad. I go, I have to bring the articles with me of what the people were saying about him in the city. And so when they opened the door, tells me to come in. I was nervous, brother. June 18th, 1988. And I walk up to him. He has his head down. He was reading the New York Post. And he didn't, move anything, just had his head down. And then he shook his head, yes. And then he looked up at me. And it was, oh man, I was frightened because you hear stories about how the man can read you. And I believe that is what was going on. He was reading me to see what type of, what kind of brother I was. And then he shook his head. And then he said, I said, brother minister, I love you. And then he said this to me. He said, brother, I know you love me. And that's how our first meeting began. And from 1988 on, by Allah's grace, I've just been a blessed brother.
All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, perfect. Both of my sisters, Miriam and Naima, say assalamu alaikum and peace, family. People are showing you love, brother minister, all across the country. Praise okay. Well, it's the holy month of Ramadan. Brother minister, what advice would you give to just the believers all across the world about the importance of of Ramadan this month?
Yes, sir. I read something from our brother, great Imam, Brother Sultan, and I thought it was so beautiful how he said that we should not only fast, from food and drink, but our eyes should fast. Our hands should be fasting. Our feet should be fasting. And meaning that this fast is for Allah. He is the one that has prescribed this for you and me. And so it does us no good by going without food and water, but all of the activities that we used to be involved in, we still commit. So the God has no use of our fast in terms of not eating and drinking. That's all we get is hunger pains. But if our whole being is fasting and we keep away from backbiting, gossip, and slander, which is the lowest form of electrical current, Minister Farrakhan teaches us in Closing the Gap. I think that we would become better and closer to Allah, because that is the aim, according to what the minister told us this morning, to get closer to the God. And we are obviously going to need this on the heels of Minister Farrakhan's departure.
All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Excellent. Well, Brother Minister, while we got you right there, we might as well go ahead and continue down this line of understanding and building, if you will. Speaking of the Most High Minister's Farrakhan departure, what advice would you give to us on staying strong and when that takes place?
I was at a laborers meeting not too long ago. I don't know I forget the year. But you know, brother Josh, it is the love that we are going to have for one another. And obviously, in particular, the love of Master Father Muhammad and his two messiahs. We are going to have that kind of love. And I don't care what happens. Mother Tainetta Muhammad said we would have to pray just to keep our sanity in that day and time. So the love that the Minister Farrakhan has displayed and demonstrated over these past 44, going on 45 years absent of Minister Farrakhan, we're going to have to live that real time, Brother Josh. And if we do that, the victory is ours. And I think part of the minister's going, it is us to show and prove how much we really love him, the ones that back him, and how much I really love Brother Josh. How much do I really love Brother Josh? You know, and how much do those that are with me and around me love me? Because we can talk it, but we're going to have to show and prove when the minister is not with us.
Absolutely. All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Beautiful response. And people are showing you love all across the country. Thank you all very much. Okay, Brother Minister, my next question is for you to speak of the minister in the way that you do, and when did you see him properly in a divine light to go from maybe being an activist or political leader to someone who was in fact one of Master Farrakhan Muhammad's messiahs, as you referred to him?
You know, brother, I have to give credit to the brother who was first introduced me to the teaching. His name was Brother Jerome. Like I said, he was in him teaching me to be a bar porter. He told me that Minister Farrakhan was the messenger of God. So I came in on that knowledge. And so I did not have like a backdoor escape. If this don't work out, I'm gone. And so that knowledge of him being the messenger of God, I felt as though I was obligated to obey and to follow him all of the days of my life. I wrote a letter one day to the minister because it was some words that he had stated. And then I wrote in the letter that I believe that you are the Messiah, the Jesus. And so when he wrote me back, he put in parentheses, little Messiah. He didn't say I was wrong, but he said little Messiah. And so I started looking at him as the Jesus. And then what I was reading in the scriptures, it tallied, you know? And so as the minister had just recently told us, he could not tell us that right away. He had to do the work and demonstrate through his work, and his work testifies who he is. So he can come out now and say it, and then all we got to do is look back at the track record and then tally, and then we can see a perfect match. Yes, he is the Messiah, the Jesus that we've been looking for.
All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. Excellent teaching, bro, minister. Okay, my next question for you, sir, is from Atlantic City to Wilmington, just in your life in general, have you ever faced fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Oh, yes, brother. Well, a few times. Fear when we were bringing the minister to Atlantic City. I got death threats. That brother had called me a couple of days or a day before the minister had come, and he asked me, was it going to be any problems because FBI, CIA agents was coming in Trump Plaza, which is next to the convention center that the minister was going to be speaking at. And he saw FBI, CIA, and he called me. He said, brother, I'm looking at all of this going on, all these undercover agents and whatnot. Is something going to happen? They talking about, you know, it's going to be trouble. Mordecai Levy, the Jewish activist, was rallying people everywhere the minister went and holding rallies. Who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? We want him dead. All of that was going on. And so, of course, I was a little trepidated. And, but the minister said, no, brother, stand strong, stand up. And he gave me encouraging words. And so Allah blessed us to get through that process. I was, yes, a little frightened, but Allah blessed me to get through it. Another fear that I had, brother, this was early 90s. And the minister was a little perturbed because a lot of people wanted his position. But so we were all out at headquarters. Brother Ishmael comes out and says that the minister wants the student ministers to mount his rostrum. Mm-hmm. Brother, and we had to go. We all had 3 minutes. I was so afraid and frightened, brother. Mother Tynetta said she didn't want to go. Brother Ishmael said, I'm following instructions. All of the student ministers, Brother Conrad at that time from New York, and Brother Halim, it was about maybe 10 of them that went and mounted the minister's rostrum. Brother, I was so fearful, Brother Joshua. I prayed to God, asked him, I did not want to go up there. You know my heart. You know my spirit. Oh, Allah, I don't want to go up there. I was so frightened. I was the next one in line, and the minister was on his way out, brother. Master Father Muhammad answered my prayer, Brother Joshua. Oh, my goodness, I was frightened. I was frightened. So we got through that. There's a few others, but those 2 things stick out.
Yes, sir. Okay, now that is coming, I'm trying to visualize. So when you say the rostrum, you're saying the rostrum, the big rostrum in Mas Mariam.
Minister Farrakhan's, that rostrum.
Yes, sir, because when you said it, I was like, okay, they want you to teach. But you're saying stand up on the, okay, yes, sir.
In the minister's pulpit, and we had to talk. Ain't that something? That's the history, brother. To those that don't know, back in the early 90s, that's what he instructed us to do, brother. And he was sitting in the back in that little room off in the back with the monitor. Oh, yes, sir, brother. I was so frightened. Yeah, we had to mount his rostrum. Yes, sir.
That's powerful. Praise be
yes,
to
sir.
Allah. Okay, yes, sir. And thank you, everyone who continues to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. All right, well, Brother Minister, what about the Million Man March? What was the climate like leading up to it, and how did it personally impact you?
That was a very, very, very trying time for me, Brother Josh. During that time, I was going through a separation and divorce. And this led to me being relieved of my post in Atlantic City. The minister had told us, I would have to get up off of the post until my divorce was final. We tried to reconcile the marriage, and the minister had asked me to have your wife call me, brother. And I asked her to do that. That never happened. I got very emotional, and I said, man, I'm out. You know, hey, looking back at it now, my emotions might have got the best of me, or I might have got on her nerves. You know, I don't know, but that's what happened. So I was relieved of the post, brother. And I never got back that post in Atlantic City. At that time, the Delaware Valley was being formed. Minister Farrakhan had given the Delaware Valley to student minister, regional minister Rodney Muhammad. And so I was helping him at that time. And I was going through a heavy trial, brother, at that particular time. And so when I did not have the post, people were asking, what happened? What's going on? People in the street were saying, I heard this, I heard that. Oh, it was a heavy trial for me, brother. And I wanted to commit suicide. It got that rough on me. It's someone that was close to me in the ministry said to me, I heard the minister didn't want you no more, brother. And when that was told to me, I was devastated. But what happened, I immediately dismissed that and said the minister didn't say that. But I was on the brink because of what I was going through. I was saying, I'll check up on out of here. Ain't nobody be worried about me. And I went through a trial for about 5 or 6 years, brother. And so what happened, how I got to Wilmington, Delaware, was I wrote a letter to the minister. And I told him what I was going through. The letter, I sent it to the National House. Sister Sophia was Minister Farrakhan's administrative assistant.
Yes,
she
sir.
said, I'm on my way to Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm going to give it to him. And so that was on a Wednesday. Friday night, it was a Friday night study group in Philadelphia. Minister Rodney called me to his office and said, brother, would you like to go to Wilmington, Delaware? We were going in and out of Wilmington, Delaware, because they did not have a student minister at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had gotten the post in Wilmington, Delaware. Then we were sent, the minister summoned his student ministers later on. And when I got there, after we broke, we went to the Salam. The minister saw me and asked me to come to him. This was in the vestibule of the Salam restaurant. And all of the national laborers, the laborers, student ministers, he called me out and said, come here, brother. And he said, brother, trials purify.
Mm.
You're a wiser man now, a better man, a wiser minister, a better minister. I was under a big, big trial for about 5 or 6 years. And I know when people say, when you don't have the post of a minister or a captain, you're tried, brother. You're tried, brother Josh. And I was under that kind of trial. But Allah blessed me to weather the storm. And so the experience and the knowledge that I gained from being under trial, Allah blessed me to use that experience and wisdom. And so we grew so fast in Wilmington that I came there, we had about 8 to 10 people, and within a year and a half, we were a mosque. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sir. Well, Brother Minister, well, I want to thank you on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family, sir. Thank you, man. Allah bless you and continue to bless you for the work that you have done and continue to do. I want to stay on the suicide point. It's something that I've addressed on the People's Podcast. My father, with his trial, with losing his position, and people just, I think a lot hasn't been my trial yet because I didn't have no title or nothing like that. But it's something about losing your post and people losing loved ones in life. What advice would you give to people who contemplate suicide? Like, what advice would you give to them to keep going?
Yes, brother. It's a good question, brother Josh. I think I was successful because I dismissed it. I thought about it, and then I dismissed it. And the Quranic verse came to me and it says, your latter state would be better than your former state. That's in the Quran. I think it's the 93rd surah of the Quran. And so when that verse came to me, that was the healing for me. And then I'm thinking about my children. I'm thinking about, the work that Allah did bless me to do, and me take my life now. And so Allah blessed me to overcome it. So what I would say to those that had experienced that kind of thought, you got to get up out of it quickly. And then that Quranic verse, your latter state will be better than your former state. That's my advice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praises due to Allah. My nephew Armani says, the fist emoji. Love you, Mani. My sister Naima says, we thank you. We thank Allah for you all you are still here with us. We thank Allah that you're still here with us. Thank you very much.
Brother Josh, but I got to say this about you though, brother. See, the book, Closing the Gap from the Minister, this is what you're doing. You're closing the gap, brother, because it was those that came late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, that Allah has blessed you to interview. And so those that are just coming in don't know that history and the sacrifice. So the People's Podcast, you're closing the gap and marrying yesterday to today for tomorrow. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That means a lot to me, Brother Minister. Okay, boom. And I got a lot of follow-up questions for you, Brother Minister, but we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this Ramadan. If you all like to be a sponsor donor, please cash at the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. She also has a Spanish book. It's translating to Spanish. The ABC I Love Me, we look forward to getting that on Amazon. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studio of Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Rod Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rod Communications. Also, Fashion Gods, Urban Wear out of St. Louis, 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dressed with the best of fashion. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas, Squashing the Beef, Conflict Mediation. He does a phenomenal job with that. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, Giving Birth to a God in the Science of Child Rearing. We're coming right back to our brother minister. Sister Sherry Muhammad, AsiaticMinds.com. She teaches STEM virtually to young kings and queens all across the country. Please sign your children up virtually to AsiaticMinds.com. Brother Kenneth Muhammad, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the country. Thank you, Brother Kenneth. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad of Chicago, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services. Thank you very much. My father, Student Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad, Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Right back to our brother, Student Minister Robert Muhammad, who's given us some amazing information and inspiration this Ramadan. All praises due to Allah. Thank you, Sister Naima, who says thank you for capturing history. And Sister Tracy says, Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak, family.
Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem. People showing you love all across the country, Brother Minister.
Praise be to Allah.
And once we put it on YouTube, please put your city in the chat. Okay, so back to you, Brother Minister. So we dealt with the trial, but what has been your greatest joy, Brother Minister?
Wow, my greatest joy, obviously, was meeting the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, bringing him to Atlantic City, not once, but twice, was my greatest joy. And just, being in his presence, because I've been blessed, brother, since 1988. There was a little gap between that, but being in his hotel room, the laborers meetings, at his dinner table, brother, the greatest joy. There's no joy greater than that, brother Josh. It's the boss, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All praise due to Allah. Well, you've been married. What advice would you give to future husbands?
Be patient. Patient, brother. You know, sometimes, brother, when you're in the ministry, you know, when you're young, you go through stages of development. And so, you know, we go through stages of development in terms of being a little arrogant and stuff like that. And sometimes you bring that home to your wife. And brother, what happens is that she has a mind and a spirit. And as the minister says, she's there to help. And so I would say sitting down and listening to your wife and being patient. And then there's some fights that you just ain't gonna win. You know, there's some things that just ain't gonna go your way, and you just gotta live with it, brother. And then I have learned to, and I understand that things are not going to be solved when you have disagreements in one night. It's going to take time. But I can't take my bat and ball and go somewhere else when what we have decided didn't go my way, or the conclusion of something is not answered yet. I have to be patient. And I think, as the minister says, you know, a lot of it is on the men, but those things, jewels right there, will get us a long way. And it's really, a lot of times, it's just our ego, brother Josh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of times it is, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I bear witness. Yes, sir. Okay. What advice would you give to future fathers?
Brother, you got to study yourself, as the minister said. What is it that you know and love about yourself? And what is it that you may not know? And what is it that you do not like about yourself? And the things that you don't like about yourself, ask the God to bless you with someone in your life that can help you solve that problem. Because that's what the woman is there as a helpmeet, to help you and I meet our obligation to him. So we should ask the God for someone that we need. And in what we need is what we want. And I think when we think like that and go along and do that formula that I've learned from the minister, we would be much more successful. Ask him what he needs, what you and I need. And in that need is what we want. Because sometimes, you know, brother, mom and dad gave us what we needed. And then what did we do when we grew? We appreciated mom and dad for what they did, you know, and then they could give us the wisdom of why they did it. That process is, in principle, is like that in marriage, brother. You know, it's like that in marriage. So that it would be my counsel. Get someone and ask the God to give you someone that you need. And then they may get on your nerves, brother. But later on down the line, you will appreciate them because that made you a better man. Praise be to Allah.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. What type of music do you listen to, bro, minister?
Oh, I play guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, I listen to all of it. I'm a hip hop head, but I listen to all types of music. One of my favorite albums is by Steely Dan called Aja.
Okay.
AJA. It's a white band, but that is a classic album by Steely Dan called Aja. AJA. I listen to, obviously, rap. My favorite guitarists are Santana,
Okay. Okay.
And Nile Rodgers from Chic is my favorite guitarist, but I think the greatest that ever did it was Jimmy.
Oh, yes, sir. He's up there for a reason now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. For sure. That's amazing that you play guitar. Okay.
Yes, sir. How I played, this is what happened, Brother Josh. Playing ball, and so you got people that like you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And whatnot. So one of the brothers that dug me, he told me, he said, come on over to the spot. So after the game, you know what we did. We smoked weed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I went to his home, and up in his home, he plays guitar. And so, brother, he started playing Sweet Thing by Shaka Khan on the guitar. And I was blown. I was blown because Shaka is my favorite female vocalist.
Okay.
And that was the first song that I learned to play on the guitar, was Sweet Thing by Shaka Khan. And that's when I started playing the guitar, when I was a senior in high school. So I've been playing since, on and off.
Oh, praise Inshallah. Yes, sir. Well, Brother Minister, whenever we get to meet Inshallah in person, if you bring the guitar, when you need somebody to help you, with the vocals, I'm there for that. And
great.
Oh, yes, sir. And if you need somebody, you be Magic, I be Isaiah, we can get on the phone. We can work
yes,
that
sir.
out. No pressure. Yes, sir. I have one more question for you, Brother Minister. What do you want your legacy to be?
That I was a good brother, and I helped the Messiah. I was a good brother, and I helped the Messiah, and the brother was a sincere brother. That's it. That's it, Brother Josh.
All praises to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's an amazing legacy to have, and people are showing you love all across the country. Thank you very much. And Brother Minister, I can't wait to put this. Well, I'm going to put it on YouTube right now. Man, I just want to thank you for this interview. It's very motivational and much needed at the beginning of this Ramadan. May Allah continue to bless you and your family. And I look forward to meeting you in person, inshallah.
Oh, brother, thank you. And keep up the great work, Brother Josh. You on the background there, you got one of my favorite albums, Off the Wall. I think that was Michael Jackson's favorite piece, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you keep up the great work, brother. Much love and respect, Brother Josh.
Thank you, sir. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, here we go.